Hey there, welcome back to High Infidelity, the best channel for cheating stories. Like and subscribe to channel for more spicy stories. Now, let's get into today's story video.
I caught my ex-wife with my childhood friend. This was posted in another community. But after discovering Reddit a few days ago, I decided to publish my experience on another forum since I listened to all of the advice and truly love chatting to everyone. This is going to be a very long article. For obvious reasons, I shall not disclose anyone's name. I'm returning home after a psychologically draining 7-month ordeal. I wish I could tell you what I did, but I can't. What I can tell is that those 7 months were riddled with nightmares, horrible mental disorders, and the most heartbreaking sadness I thought I'd ever experience. What I can say is that after such a heinous event, we were mentally defeated by remorse. My colleague, whom I regarded to be my brother, pulled out his firearm and shot himself directly in front of me. After I urged him not die, he replied that he had no family, nothing to return to, and that living with this guilt would kill him. He wanted to put an end to the agony right then and there. I begged him not to, telling him that he was my brother, that I was his family, but it wasn't enough. His brains are in my face. My ears are ringing and others are pouring in. My thoughts became blank. I was unable to sleep or eat. My kids called me on Skype, and I let it ring while looking at the screen but thinking about my brother. I spent a lot of time talking to a professional. I was told to go home. Before I begin, I was taught that military women are the most dangerous snakes. They take you for granted and never let you take your gaze away from them. So I simply followed their advice and set out to prove everyone incorrect. I didn't mention when I'd arrive, but I had big vacation plans to compensate. I was warned not to tell her when I'd be returning home. I've been married to my wife for 5 years. 4 are coupled, 1 is married. A pair of twins, 2 girls, both under the age of 2 at the time I'm driven home. I see my vehicle, my lovely house, but what matters most is embracing my family after 7 months apart. When I walk in, there is no one there. There was no one in the pool when I checked. As I approach my room, I hear groaning. As I get closer, I see that my door is closed. That's my wife whining. The door is locked, but I have a door that scans mine or my wife's fingerprints. When I opened the door, I saw my wife bent over, and the other gentleman was none other than my closest buddy, the wedding's best man. I grew up with this person. I met him when I was 6 and he was 5. Since the 1st grade. This was my younger brother. My thoughts became blank. The following is what I heard. He's going to die because you're going to kill him. Stop. Please. My wife pushed against my back, hanging onto me, weeping and terrified. All I felt was a rush of adrenaline. My heart was racing like I just ran a marathon, and my hands were shaking. I didn't realize where I was until I glanced down. What I saw was a nude lady cringing and apologizing to me, and a naked male oozing blood profusely. I start weeping since I almost murdered my sibling. I didn't intend to harm him. When I inquired whether I had injured her, she answered no. I begin to out on her. Do you have any idea what I had to go through? All of those people. All this battle. And for what reason? To return home and see you with him. Nightmares, depression, hate, and paranoia for 7 months. I'm wrecking stuff while yelling at her. I punched the wall and drilled roughly 15 holes for my bed, frames, dresser, television, and door. I flipped over the bed. I pretty much wrecked the room. Neighbors phoned the police. Cops discovered me sitting in a corner, blanked out. Both were picked up by EMT and sent to the hospital. They sewed my hands. As for him, he had a fractured nose, broken arm, dislocated shoulder, and other injuries. I was deafeningly there was no rage, despair, remorse, or anything else. My wife was on her knees, pleading for pardon. I was thinking of my brother when I looked at her. I can't believe I couldn't rescue him from himself. What kind of failure am I? My karma was to return home to this lady. My children's footsteps were immediately audible to me. Daddy! They yelled as soon as they spotted me. They get onto the bed and begin to cuddle me. I immediately burst into tears. I took them in my hands and asked her if they were mine. They did not resemble me from the minute they were born. I laughed it off since I've always felt I didn't look like my father. Yet I still got his strange black nipple on my left breast and lighter nipple on my right chest, as well as green eyes. The females had nothing. Green eyes, but my mother-in-law has green eyes as well. I inquired whether they were mine. Tears begin to flow from both of us. She cries, of course they are. According to cops, he intends to seek charges. I'm similar to what about filing charges? Well, I'll tell you what, it's all his and her fault. The officers were completely unaware. I informed them about my background and job. I informed them that I had been gone for over 8 months. Let us refer to the backstabber as. I told them that I'd known since first grade and that he'd been my best man at my wedding. This is why I don't trust any lady, the police agreed. My wife sobbed as she walked out of the room, looking down. The officers informed me that they were releasing me, that they have no idea what I'm going through. They referred to me as a hero, thanked me for my service, and wished me well. I'm not a hero, I'm just a guy who enlisted for the money and perks and couldn't rescue his buddy. That does not strike me as heroic. I return home and my wife expresses an interest in accompanying me so that we may discuss this. I urged her to watch out for her boyfriend. She begins to weep once again. I left the children with her since I had a lot of tears to cry on my way home. It was all a haze till I got home. I awoke on the sofa, close to her dozing on the rough floor. I lift her up and place her on the sofa. We had our DNA check 2 weeks later, and all 3 of us completed a lie detector exam. Everything was disclosed at this point. My world was shattered into a million pieces. I was absolutely devoted to her. I adored this lady so much that it's difficult to convey since whatever I say will be an understatement. She has cheated on me from the day we met. I never observed any indications. She just cheated with, but she still cheated. She's been taking advantage of my earnings. I have a piece of paper that said I'm not the father of my 2 small planets. That father was a jerk. Not only that, but she's pregnant once again. He was enraged by what I had done to him and spilled the beans. His words had "Activate your eyes. You've been the one earning money. You've been caring for my children while I sit back and play video games. She's been unfaithful from the beginning. Remember when we